We are getting ever closer to October 31st and therefore the release of Riftbound in English. So, what are we going to be looking at with how this game is going to be released and how difficult is it actually going to be to collect? Well, all of that and more is going to be starting right now. So yeah, the big thing here is, of course, if you would have asked me probably about a week ago, because I had planned on making this video about a week ago, how difficult this game would have actually been to collect from the get-go, I would have been incredibly worried. The biggest thing about that, and the main reason why that is because there's been a lot of things where, especially when a new card game comes out, there's not necessarily a whole lot of product that gets created. You're going to be having a lot of scarcity. A lot of people are going to maybe have their connections with game shops or whatever it might be to be able to get, their quantity of things as well, their boxes, their packs that they need to open and things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, everyone else kind of struggles by the wayside and product gets very scarce until they potentially will release, more product, another printing of set one. And so you got to have these annoyances with that, and especially with how we've seen other card games get released. Gundam is going through that right now. Lorcana went through that pretty scarcely in the beginning with their packs and everything like that for their set one. That is very difficult to have to deal with, unfortunately, and it seems to be the main problem with with card games in general, especially in that set one. And so it's like, well, great. Well, why should it be any different for Riftbound in this case? I mean, I was going ahead and talking to one of my local game stores as well, and they put up their hands and they're like, well, we had ordered 90 boxes and we were given 35. Likewise, another game store that I had talked to as well, they were saying even as of last week, they were like, we haven't even been told how much we're getting allocated anyway. We don't know how much we're going to have, and therefore we don't know if we're even going to be doing pre-sales. We might very well be doing first come, first show. The game store that said that they were going to be going ahead and doing the 35 boxes, they're like, well, we're going to only be doing potentially first come, first serve on that as well. And so that's a big difficulty that you're like, oh, well, what am I going to do? Because if I don't manage to get something the day of release, is there going to be any product left for me to be able to find? If I do end up trying to go online, then, well, am I going to be able to find product on TCG Kingdom or TCG Player, Card Kingdom, or anything like that as well? And if so, is there going to just be a major markup because of how everything is going? We have the regionals that is coming in Houston coming up here pretty soon. We got another big tournament in Vegas as well and a couple other places. And it's like, well, I want to be able to create these decks. I want to be able to test these decks out, be able to play in person at my local game store with, weekly matches and things of that nature with my game nights and things of that nature. And so I was getting incredibly stressed. And I mean, we can even see as well, we even have the guy who created Pixelborn as well, who was a little bit worried with how Riftbound had been going. I mean, he said himself, got info from multiple local game stores in the United States and in Europe for substantial allocations for Riftbound, close to 10 times worse than Lorcana got for set one. And I feel like Riftbound is even more hype than Lorcana. Flashbacks, scary time. And rightfully so. I mean, come on, you got to have a little bit of fear seeing that. And I was experiencing the same thing on my side with asking my local game stores what was even going on with any of that as well. I mean, I'm excited about this game. I traded in a bunch of my Magic the Gathering cards, my Lorcana cards, and things of that nature, get the store credit needed so that I can order some of these boxes, get things moving. And it's like, well, I don't know if I can. I even told my CEO that I might be missing work on October 31st because I'm going to be waiting at the front door of my local game store to try to get a box upon opening. That way I can not even just for content, but just because I really want to play this game. But there was some actually really good hope here as well, which I was very excited about. Now, luckily, Origins came through for us, or not Origins, Riot came through for us and did something pretty incredible here. and not something that I've necessarily seen a whole lot of. There's been times, of course, where Riot has actually been communicating a lot more than what we've seen with other card games in general. Not only that, it's been actually seeming like they listen to the community as well. I'm still almost a little bit skeptical because, a first launch release can be very telling, can also be very difficult to get right as a company trying to release a new game. You don't want to have to overproduce it to the point where you just dig yourself a hole and it's like, well, we bankrupted ourselves and we're done. You know. Luckily, in this case, I don't think that's going to be the case. But still, you got to be a little bit skeptical that they go for scarcity until the popularity, until they get the numbers of how this is going to sell. So still, though, I've been very impressed by Riot, and even before they started releasing what cards were going to be in set one, I mean, this is going on, what, 2-3 months ago now, they were even communicating with us all of the alternate arts that they were going to have when they were planning their first regional, when they were planning their first worlds, when they were even planning the first rotation for sets to be banned to create, just a rotation in card games. And so this was really cool to be able to see. And it was very heartwarming because there's been other card games where it just doesn't seem like they're listening. For Yu-Gi-Oh right now, it's in a kind of a chaotic state. I mean, the YCS, for that matter, literally in their finals with two of the best players in Yu-Gi-Oh, it was 3 rounds or 3 turns. The player who was going first went ahead and said, okay, I set up my board, and the guy was like, hey, I draw my card. All right, I scoop. Likewise, on the second game, he built up his board, and he's like, hey, pass. And the guy was like, hey, I draw my card and I scoop. And that was how the entire YCS was. And so far, we're not seeing anything from Konami on bans or anything to help get this game back into a healthy state. Likewise, Lorcana just keeps seeming to drop the ball with their communication, with what they're trying to do in this case. They messed up horribly with World, and the fact that the only reason they announced when Worlds was because it initially got leaked. Not only that, they've been making some pretty big mistakes on making their Ravensburger hub, where you have to run your tournaments. They're like, you cannot run tournaments outside of Melee anymore, kind of thing. And you can only use our hub. And everyone's like, it's not ready. It's been crashing. We've been having all of these issues. It's not moving as functional as we can. Someone in our local was running a bigger tournament in this case, and they lost round 1, round 2, and they're just like, we don't have the data anymore, and they had to regenerate everything, and that was a huge setback. And then Ravensburger's like, don't worry. We tested this for 1,900 people. Again, I apologize for this rant. It's just something that's been on my mind a lot. But I gotta say, I am so excited with even just Riot communication and what they've been doing. They've been doing a lot of things right so far as it comes to card games, especially when you saw, for example, when the box release came out on the Riot store, the website was absolute garbage in the sense of it just had a huge influx of people coming in, and it's like, well, there's nothing we can do. And I was clicking, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart, and refreshing and trying to get that working. It wasn't working, not at all, until it got sold out, and then I was able to put it into cart and everything, and then it just said tough luck. But then, likewise, on the next time too, we went ahead and ordered the Arcane Special Edition, or Collector's Edition of the Riftbound cards. Very smooth, very easy. I have a video about how easy it actually was. No latency, no having to refresh. As soon as it went online, I hit add to cart, I filled out my billing information, I hit submit, and I ordered. There was a couple of issues, sure, when it came to shipping outside of the United States. Canada had some issues on tracking or on correctly calculating shipping costs, and we're getting kind of screwed on that. But otherwise, it's been really good, and I'm sure, especially right below, I mean, here you see that this Worlds bundle is going to be coming out, and this is going to be the very first one. Very exciting to see here as well. Foil playmat. I'm sure it's going to be the same exact thing as well with all of them. I'm really excited to see what this has in store. Now, again, with Origins, though, this is something I am so excited to see, and it changes the entire dynamic of what this video was going to be when I was going to be filming it a week earlier. Words are hard today. Now, first off, they said, let's talk about us. We've been working hard ensuring players can get their hands on cards on October 31st. And to make that happen, we're printing an additional run of Origins right now that should make it to your local game store in time. This restock will let your local stores carry more Riftbound to support in-store play as well as their local Riftbound communities. Find a store nearest you with our handy store locator. Can't make it to a store? We'll be reopening pre-orders of the Origins Booster Box on the Riot merch store on October 16th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Note that you will be able to order online this second wave, but it will not ship until late December or early January. So that's going to be also a very reassuring piece of information right there as well. Not only are they producing more boxes, and again, little caveat, kind of waiting and seeing, not getting my hopes up completely just because of how I've been burned. You know, it's like when I've been dating my exes in the past, and it's like, are you different, girl? You're saying all these things that they are, that you're different, but I've been burned too much in the past. And so you got to be a little bit careful about that. Now, with that being said, though, really reassuring to be able to see this. Even if it happens to be on the following week after release, that still is going to be very, heartwarming to be able to see, to be able to have product. So, there is that caveat where I'm not going to be like, it's not here on October 31st. I'm gonna be super furious at right now. Not like that at all. But, still asterisk there on waiting and seeing. Now, with that being said, too, it's going to be interesting as well because, they're also saying that not only are they upping the production for the initial launch, but the second wave is also going to be coming late December, early January, which is very heartwarming as well, knowing that, hey, even if boxes happen to be scarce, well, you really only have to wait 2 months in this case, which really sucks. That's a lot of time, especially with Set 2 coming out in February. You're not going to necessarily get a whole lot of time. Prices might still be a little bit high, all things considered, but it's like, well, we have guaranteed a second press that's going to be hitting the market late December, early January. We have dates on that. They're already preparing for that. That is very comforting to be able to see. And I can't wait to see how this is going to go. But, time will tell. I am hoping at minimum to at least get a box. I've already got, the structure decks and things of that nature to just help get my foot in the door, if anything. Already planning on going to 2 release events in this case as well. Really excited about this game. I would like 4 boxes. That's the main thing that I'm really striving for. If I can get a minimum of 1 or 2, though, I would be very happy to be able to do so. That would be absolutely awesome to be able to see. Right now, though, I'm not necessarily too worried about being able to get my 3 or 4 boxes in this case anymore. Time will tell. But I am very hopeful, and I love what Riot is doing here. How do you guys feel about it, though? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Are you excited about what Riot is doing? Do you think this is a good response? Are you kind of a little bit hesitant about me? Or a little bit hesitant about this announcement, but also very hopeful, just like how I am? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, guys, have a good one.